one. Welcome back in, everyone. I'm here with Maine author Shannon Bowring. Thank you so much for joining us. This is an exciting time for you. Second book is out?
Yes.
All right. So we were talking and you said, so this is your second book and it is kind of a sequel, but important for readers to know it can stand alone. So if you haven't read her first book, don't be bashful. You can jump right into the second one, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the first book takes place in 1990, and it follows the lives of a bunch of people up in Aroostook County in a small town called Dalton. And in the second book, we see a lot of those same characters. But I've written each one. I've given enough backstory for each character that you don't need to read the first book to read the second book.
Right.
It's encouraged to read both.
Of course.
But if you haven't read the first, it's okay.
And important to note that, you are from Aroostook County originally, so you're very much writing from the heart on this.
Very much so.
Yeah.
The town that inspired Dalton was my own hometown, Ashland.
Okay.
Pretty small population, but a close community. And you see that a lot in both the first novel and the second.
So this is the first one. This is The Road to Dalton.
Yes, The Road to Dalton.
Show the folks that one. And then this is the one that's just come out.
Yes.
Okay. It must be really great to be from Aroostook County and be able to set your work in that same area. Talk about the inspiration of these two books.
It's very much the landscape. I grew up just absolutely loving all of the fields and the big sky and the forest. But it's also the people, because growing up in a small community, you get to know one another and the people who taught me taught my parents. So it was really nice to have that small town feel.
Yeah.
And in each book, I kind of explore how in a small town, everyone's lives are,
intertwined.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And your story is never just yours. It belongs to a lot of other people too.
Well, and there are a lot of layers going on with this plot. So if we can just sort of dive in and talk a little bit about what people are the world that people are going to step into when they read either one of these books. Yeah.
Right. So you're stepping into Aroostook County in the 90s. It's a place where not a lot goes on, but a lot goes on inside each character individually. They're dealing with a lot of their own secrets, their own struggles. There's a lot of familial relationships. There's a couple romantic relationships, maybe a secret one here or there.
Oh boy.
And we're really just exploring how when something happens to one character, it ripples out and affects others. So in the first book, you see that in the form of a really tragic thing happens, and you see how it affects the community. And in the second book, which takes place 5 years after, you're kind of checking in and seeing how the characters from the first book are coping with that tragedy. And I've also brought in a couple new characters into the mix to just give it a nice, energetic feel. And you get to see Dalton through all these people's perspective.
Do you have a favorite character?
It changes from time to time, but consistently, I really love Greg Fortin.
Okay.
In the first book, he's 14. In the second book, he's 19. And he's just struggling to understand himself a little bit better.
Yeah.
And he's really sarcastic and funny, and he loves gardening.
Yeah.
He's great.
Yeah. And finally, sort of running out of time, but I want to just get your take on it. If folks were to ask you, why should I choose this book to read? A lot of books out there. What do you think is going to draw people in to Where the Forest Meets the River? If you want to hold that up one more time, what do you think? What do you think is going to draw folks in to this book and make this worth sitting down and stopping your day and diving in? Yeah.
If you're a Mainer, you're going to see your town here. Whether it's in Aroostook County or down on the coast, you're going to notice. You're going to recognize the small town and the people.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we thank you so much for joining us. I'm excited to dive in
Thank
myself.
you.
And website that folks can go to if they want to know more?
Yes, shannonlbowring.com. I'm also on Instagram, shannonbowring.writer.
Okay.
And they could pre-order the book from bookshop.org. You could do Amazon. I encourage Bookshop because it supports local stores.
Okay. Well, we love that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. Folks, stay with us. Your extended forecast is coming up.